Alright, well hello and welcome back. In this video we're going to be looking at the midpoint and distance formulas. So let's start with the first one. Let's look at the midpoint formula. And here's the formula. You do x plus x divided by 2, and then y plus y divided by 2. So the midpoint formula helps you find the midpoint of a line segment. So when do you use it? To find a midpoint. And actually our first example looks at that. So let's take a look at the first problem. It says the endpoints of dt are d1, 2, and t, 7, 8. Use the midpoint formula to find the coordinates of midpoint O. So let's go ahead and do d. So 1, 2, go over 1 up 2. Find t, 7, 8, go over 7, go up 8, right there. And we're going to go ahead and draw a line between them, like that, and we're going to find the midpoint. So the midpoint looks like it's going to be around here somewhere, but let's use this formula. So it says x plus x and y plus y. So you're going to highlight the x's, the x parts of the point. So that would be 1 and 7. Those are the x parts. So when we use the formula, we're going to use 1 plus 7 divided by 2. Okay, then we're going to do y plus y. So the y parts of the point, which are 2 and 8. So 2 and 8, we just do 2 plus 8 divided by 2. There we go. We're just going to do a little bit of math. So 7 plus 1 gives you 8 over 2. And 2 plus 8 gives you 10 over 2. And make sure to divide. So we get 8 divided by 2 is 4. 10 divided by 2 is 5. So that is our point. That is the midpoint. Okay, so let's see how well we drew this line. So go over 4, up 5, right there. So this is where the midpoint should be. There you go. Looks like it's kind of in the middle between those 2 points, because it is. All right, that's our first formula. Let's look at the other one. This one's called the distance formula. So here's what it looks like. It is d equals square root x plus x, or sorry, not x plus x, x minus x squared plus y minus y squared. Okay, so that is the formula. And guess what? When do you use it? To find a length or a distance. So let's see this in action. Let's see where we would apply this. In the next problem, it says find GH if G is -2, -6, and H is 1, -2. So we'll do the same thing. We'll put G in red, so -2, -6, right here. H is 1, -2, so right there. And we want to know the distance or the length from the red dot to the blue dot. So that's why we're going to use the distance formula. So it is good practice if you write the distance formula every time. That way you kind of get an idea of where things go. But same thing, it says x and x and y and y. So we're just going to use our x's and our y's. So let's start with the x's. So 2 and 1. So that means in my equation with these x's, I'm going to put -2 minus 1. Squared plus, now I got to do my y's. So once again, y's. So we'll highlight the y's in blue, which are -6 and -2. So I will write -6 minus -2. And there we go. The nice part is, as long as you're using a TI-30S or XS or something like that, then as long as you type this in directly into your calculator, you will get the answer right away. You don't need to do any extra math, and your answer is just done. So here, let's take a look. Let's see. If I type this in my calculator, I get 5. And that's it. So the length of this line then is 5 units, because they're really just squares on a graph. So 5 units. All right, let's go ahead and look at the last example on the other page. Okay. The endpoints of 2 segments are given. Find each segment in length, and then tell whether the segments are congruent. So let's do this first. Find each segment length. So let's do EF over here, and let's do GH over here, and we'll kind of divide the page in 2. So EF, we will use these points up here, 1, 4, 5, 1, and we're going to be using the distance formula for these because we're trying to find a length. So let's copy down the distance formula. Right, there we go. Okay, and we'll do EF first. So let's highlight the X's. So that'll be 1 and 5. So that will look like this. D equals square root, parentheses, squared, 1 minus 5, plus parentheses squared, and now we need to do the y's, so the y part. So 4 and 1. So 4 minus 1. And same thing, just like the last one from here, just type it directly into your calculator as it's written, because it'll just give you the answer. And this one, just like our last problem, D is equal to 5. Okay, so that is how long, or the length, of EF. It's 5 units. Let's do GH. Once again, same formula, but we're using these points down here because they go with GH. So I'll start by writing the formula. I'm just leaving blanks where X and Y would be. So it starts with X minus X. So let's highlight the X's. Do that in red again. So -3 and 1. So put -3 minus 1. Then it's Y minus Y. Let's do that in blue. So 1 and 6. So in our formula, 1 minus 6. Once again, I'm just typing it directly as it's written into my calculator. And when I do that, I get D equals square root of 41. Now, square root of 41, I don't really know what that number is. So what you can do on the TI-30, if you're looking at the enter button, the white enter button, if you go right above it, it has those 2 arrows. If you hit those 2 arrows, it'll give you the decimal. And that's usually what we want. A decimal is easier to compare and contrast numbers, right? So square root of 41 is 6.4. And that is the length of GH, 6.4. So we found the length of each segment. So tell whether the segments are congruent. Well, let's think about what congruent means. Congruent means that the segments are equal. So that means if they're equal, they would have the same length. So 5 and 6.4. Do they have the same length? Well, no, they don't. So all we would need to do is just here at the bottom. I don't know why this is coming along for the ride, but I guess it is. Anyway, at the bottom, you just say, no, the segments are not congruent. And there we go. That's it. That's how you use your midpoint and distance formula. Good luck.